Hey Pixel friends, welcome back to the channel. It is your girl Pixel Chick Simmer here, and today we're going to be talking about how to reduce lag in Second Life and make Second Life run faster in 2022. So, I've got my avatar here, Junie, and we're just gonna go through all the steps that I have to make Second Life run faster. These are just things that I've found make my game run faster from experience in the past couple years that I've been playing Second Life, and some little tips to make things run faster so you're not lagging or freezing or crashing when you're, playing on the grid in Second Life. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the video. So step 1, you're going to want to make Second Life higher priority in your Windows Task Manager. This is for PC, Windows PC computers only. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open up your Windows Task Manager. There's a couple ways you can do this. So on your keyboard, you can press down the Control, Shift, and Escape keys all at the same time, and it'll bring up the Windows Task Manager. Another way you can do it is to press Control, Alt, Delete on your keyboard, and it'll pop up with the menu. You're going to want to press Task Manager, and it'll pop up a Task Manager. So now that you're in Windows Task Manager, you're going to want to go down to Details in the top bar here in Task Manager. You're going to press it, and you're gonna see all the different lists of different programs that are running in your computer. Right now I have it set to memory, which is going to be helpful later on for one of the tips. So it's sorted by the highest amount of memory. As you can see, Firestorm Second Life is running 1 million I think kilobytes, is it? But you can press by name. You can sort it by name if that makes it easier. I find for my computer it's always going to be the highest memory. Second Life is always going to be the highest memory taken, unless I have other programs open like Sims or Photoshop. So for now I just sort by memory, click it, and then you can find Firestorm. You're going to want to click it and then right click on the Firestorm release. And by the way, this also works for Second Life, the Second Life viewer, and Black Dragon viewer, and all other viewers, but I'm going to be demonstrating this in Firestorm today. So you're going to want to go ahead and right click on Firestorm release. And then once you're in this menu, you're going to want to go down to set priority, and you're going to want to set it to high. It's going to ask you, do you want to change the priority for Firestorm release 64.executable? You're going to go ahead and click yes, change priority. So now that we've done that step, let's go ahead and move on to step 2. Step 2 is the one that I find the hardest to stick to because it can be so tempting to want to keep 1,000,001 tabs open. You got 5 billion windows open on your computer. Trust me, I know, I've been there. But to run Second Life as smoothly as possible, you're going to want to go ahead and close out of all those extra tabs, all those unnecessary windows. Oftentimes when I'm playing Second Life, I tend to have other tabs open on my web browser such as Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, etc. You're going to want to go ahead and close out of those unless you're willing to take the loss on your performance. So oftentimes I'll have Photoshop open, I'm working on a picture, or I'll have The Sims open casually, just playing in the background, and that is not the best idea when you want to have Second Life run smoothly because your computer is fighting to process multiple different applications, and even though they're not running on the screen at the time, they're still running in the background, and that takes memory and disk space away from your computer. So you want to minimize it as much as possible. So here I'm in Photoshop editing a picture, but if I want to have the highest Second Life performance, I'm going to want to go ahead and click out, exit out of Photoshop. You can do this manually, or you can go back down to your Windows Task Manager, and then you're going to go right back to the Details tab. And what I like to do, as I said before, is I like to set it by memory. I like to sort everything by memory. So click memory, and it'll sort by what programs are using the most amount of memory. And so as you can see, I have Discord open in the background. I don't need to have Discord running. I have it on my phone. All I got to do is go down to End Task, and you're just going to go ahead and confirm in process. And that's going to alleviate some memory for you for your computer. So now it can allocate those resources back into Firestorm or whatever other game you're choosing to play at the moment. So that's what I like to do. You're not going to want to close all of the programs because some of these are crucial to your computer's performance and have to be running at all times while your computer is running, such as the Dullahan host, and I know for a fact that this msmpg.eng file is my antivirus, so I don't want to exit out of that because I want to stay protected. Oftentimes the rule of thumb for deleting or ending the task is do not end any of the tasks that have this little window with the blue square in the middle. Okay, so do not end any of those tasks. But to end a task like the Discord that I just ended, or you can go down to Chrome and you can end a task for that. Chrome is very taxing on your computer as well. It's one of the most taxing web browsers out there. Microsoft Edge is a little bit easier on your computer, but I like to use Chrome just because it's what I'm used to. So oftentimes I'll have to go ahead and end that task. If I want to listen to music, I can listen to it on my phone, or I can watch Netflix on my phone or on a different tablet or something like that. And you don't have to do these things, but just saying, if you want your computer to run more smoothly, you want Second Life to run smoothly, I recommend closing out of your Chrome, your Discord, your Sims, your GTA, all other games and programs that don't need to be running. Go ahead and X out of them. I often X out of Creative Cloud, so that could be like my Adobe Photoshop or any Adobe programs I have. I'll X out of Creative Cloud as well. And it's important to note the memory usage. So when you're going down the entire list, it goes from all the way from 1,000,000 kilobytes down to 0 kilobytes. So you're going to want to make sure you're getting the big ticket items, the one that has the highest memory. You're going to want to end those tasks first before anything else, because that is going to be taking up the most memory on your computer and making your computer run slower. So go ahead and get rid of the highest files, and then we're going to go ahead and move on to step 3. Alright, so moving on to step 3, we're going to go ahead and go back into my Firestorm, my Second Life game. So for step 3, this is confirmed to work in Firestorm. I don't know if they have the option in Second Life or Black Dragon, but I know it works in Firestorm, so we're going to go ahead and do the step 3 in Firestorm. So we're going to go ahead and turn back on my UI. So as you can see right now, even my frame rates per second are 3.1, which is pretty low for my computer. Usually it sits at about 20 to 50 frame rates per second while I'm in my skybox up in the sky, which is something we'll touch on in a minute here. But as you can see, I'm running another program. I'm running Streamlabs, which is another pretty taxing program on your computer, especially when you're recording or streaming. So that's why my frame rates are so low right now. But we're going to go ahead and continue. So for this next step, you're going to want to have your advanced. Is it advanced? Yes. Okay. So for this next step, you're going to want to go ahead and have your advanced menu enabled in your navigation bar. And to do that, all you got to do is press Control P on the keyboard, or click Avatar and scroll all the way down to Preferences at the bottom, and then here we are. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go down to the Advanced tab right here on your Preferences, and you're just going to want to go ahead and click Show Advanced Menu, and I will go ahead and enable Show Developer Menu as well. So now that we have these enabled, we're going to go over to the Advanced menu, click on it, and you're going to want to scroll down to Rendering Types. And so what this is going to do is you're going to enable rendering certain types of mesh, certain types of objects in your Second Life viewer. So what I like to do is I like to disable trees, so I'm going to go ahead and click that away. I know it's kind of tricky with Second Life because they don't really have, like, what specifies a tree? How do you know it's a tree or not? I don't know, but all that I do know is that it works. It always makes my computer render faster. So I go to rendering types, and I unclick tree. I also unclick water, If you really need smoother performance, then I recommend also going to rendering types and unrendering sky as well. That's only if you really need to though, because it kind of looks weird without sky when you're in a skybox or just in general when you're on Second Life. So that is the third tip on how to make your computer run faster. Okay, so now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and move on to step 4. So for step 4, we're going to be making our Second Life viewer recognize our graphics card. So I use Firestorm and Black Dragon the most for my viewers. You can do this with your Second Life viewer as well, but what you're going to want to do is, for computers that have NVIDIA, you're going to want to go down to your Windows Start button, and you're just going to type in NVIDIA. And something should pop up, NVIDIA Control Panel. If it doesn't, then just type out the rest. But we're going to go ahead and go down to NVIDIA Control Panel. You're going to click this. And that'll pop up this little window. I believe it'll look the same no matter if you've been in it before. So it should pop up. So it should pop up into this window with the NVIDIA Control Panel, and you're just going to want to go, if it's not already, go to Manage 3D Settings, and then you're going to want to, in the middle, scroll down to where it says Global Settings. You're going to go ahead and click Program Settings. Now, for what I found for Second Life viewers is that they don't often select when you're selecting a program to customize. They may not be in your programs already. If they are, they're going to be up at the top. So yeah, Firestorm. So sometimes it won't select. Sometimes when you click it, it'll go back down to Google Chrome or something like that, right? What you're going to want to do in that case is you're going to want to go to Add right next to here. So what you're going to want to do is browse and find the Firestorm executable. And an easy way to do this is to go to your desktop, and you're just going to want to right click on the Firestorm or whatever viewer you have, and you're going to open File Location. And that's going to show you where your executable, where your application is at. So as you can see, my file location is under the C drive, Program Files, Firestorm, Release 64, and it's gonna be this little application right here. So now that we got that, we're gonna go back to our NVIDIA. We're gonna go back to our NVIDIA panel, and we're gonna go ahead and click Add again. We're gonna click Browse, and then we're gonna find that we're gonna find that file on our computer. So we're gonna click Program Files, and then we're gonna click Firestorm Release 64, and we're gonna open that. And then last but not least, you're gonna go down to this file. Make sure you have the application and not the shortcut. And you can tell because it says right here application. Have the actual application selected, and you're going to click open. And then once you have that open, it will and then once you have that open, you're going to want to go down to where it says step number 2, select the preferred graphics processor. If you have a gaming computer, you're most likely going to have an NVIDIA processor, high performance. Sometimes what happens with Second Life is it'll just use the Intel integrated graphics, which is the Intel CPU. You're gonna want to make it use the GPU, which is the high performance NVIDIA processor. So you're just gonna select high performance NVIDIA processor, and I believe there's gonna be a way to make it save. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, so you're gonna have to click apply and then click OK, and it should go ahead and work smoothly for that. So now that we're finished with step 4, let's go ahead and X out of this, and let's move on to step 5. Alright, so moving on to the next step. For step 5, we're going to go ahead and move on to Google. So for step 5, we're going to go ahead and move on into my web browser, because we're going to be talking about Shadow Cloud Gaming, ShadowTech. So basically what ShadowTech is it's a company that essentially has I guess you could say simulated high-end gaming PC that you can tap into through a cloud. And when you're playing in the cloud, you can have better performance, and your game will run faster and everything. I don't exactly understand how it works, and in full disclosure, I've never actually used it because when I tried to use it about a couple years back, they said they didn't offer it for my location. So yeah, but we're gonna go ahead and look at the website. So this is ShadowTech. This is the website. I'll link it down below. And a bunch of my friends and my sorority sisters have used this in the past, and they said it makes their Second Life run a lot smoother, and then there's no lag or anything like that. This is for people that don't exactly have a gaming computer or gaming laptop, and you want to kind of emulate that to make things faster. This is the perfect solution. So it's your PC in the cloud. You can subscribe from $29.99 a month. And this is the website. Like I said, I don't exactly know how it works or even how to use it, but I'll leave some links down below for how to use it and how to download it and everything like that. So if you guys want that option, it's there for you. And now that we're done with this step, we're going to go ahead and move on to step 6. So for step 6, we're going to be moving back into Second Life. So in Firestorm, you should have this button down here. I think it's like the Firestorm logo. It might not be on the end depending on what skin you use and how you have your buttons organized, but it should be here in the bottom right hand corner, and you're just going to go ahead and click it. It's called Quick Preferences. And you're gonna click it. This is the faster way to do things when you're lagging really bad and you can't and it's hard to get into preferences. This is how we're gonna do things because I feel like it's faster than doing it in preferences. So on here you should have a couple different options. You have your draw distance, you have your max particles, and things like this. You're going to want to go ahead and navigate to where it says draw distance. So in Firestorm, you can really have your draw distance as high as possible depending on where you are. I wouldn't recommend doing it on a full landscape sim like a community sim like a Fox Hollow or a Lux LA. I wouldn't recommend having it up that high because there's so many objects. But if you have, let's say you have your own sim and it's only 10,000 prims on it or whatever, something like that, a private region, you can honestly give it all the way up to 1024. However, I don't recommend doing that, and it's not really needed unless you're trying to see the entire sim all at once. So I recommend leaving it somewhere between 100 to 200, and that shows just enough of your surroundings that you can see pretty much everything in your vision, like everything around your avatar, but it's not going to render things that are very far away from you and very far away from your avatar. And this is what I do to reduce lag as well. This is very helpful. I found it pretty much always works whenever when things aren't loading in quick enough, or if I'm having lag. When in doubt, go to your draw distance, set it down. It can go as low as 32. I recommend, if you really need to, then do that as well. Now in Black Dragon, I know it's a lot different because the Black Dragon is so taxing in itself that I think the recommended draw distance, the recommended maximum for Black Dragon is 128, I believe. So make sure if you're wanting to have smooth performance, do not go any higher than 128 in Black Dragon Viewer. So that's that for step 6, and now that we're done with that step, let's go ahead and move on to step 7. You're going to want to go back to your preferences. So we're going to go ahead and click Control P, and we're going to X out of the little quick prefs bar. We're going to go all the way up to where it says graphics in your preferences. Click that. And as you can see, you have all these different graphic things. You can have presets that you can load in for, like, let's say you want to have it like an ultra, like high quality, or mid to low. You can save presets and load them in here. Right now mine is somewhere in between high and ultra quality, but that's just really like a preset, I feel like, because then you can tweak it even more. So as you can see, we have all these checks here on the left hand side. What you're going to want to do for this is you're going to want to go ahead and deselect advanced lighting model. So you're going to want to go ahead and click that and click it off. Now, as you can see, my graphics just kind of looked different. My screen just became a little bit different. Things are a lot brighter because we don't have our shadows enabled, because when you deselect advanced lighting module, it automatically deselects your ambient occlusion and your shadow, sun and moon projectors. So for that reason alone, it's gonna become a lot brighter, and it's not gonna have as much quality or contrast to the picture, to the textures and everything, because you turned off the advanced lighting model. So this helps the performance a lot. As you can see, I think I was doing it 3 frames before I clicked it off. Now I'm doing all the way up to 8, almost 9 frames. So that's a quick way to get your Second Life running a lot smoother and get rid of some lag and make things load faster. Whenever I'm at a shopping event and I see a booth and there's like a little picture and I can't load, it's gray or it's fuzzy for a long time, usually I'll do my draw distance and then I'll uncheck advanced lighting model, and it'll load in a lot faster. So that's what we do for step 7. Now you can also click this and have it checked, but then you can uncheck ambient occlusion and go down to your shadows and click none. That kind of works, but then you still have your advanced lighting model on, so it's still going to be taking some processing power from your computer. So now that's done with, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back on so that the video looks better. But yeah, you get the gist of how to turn that on and off. So that's step 7, and now that we're done with that step, let's go ahead and move on to step 8. So we're going to go back into our quick preps for step 8. As you can see, we have everything here, and here we're going to be turning off our max particles. Now mine are already turned down low because I pretty much keep that there at all times for the most part. What particles are is whenever you see an object, and let's say it's a bubble machine and there's little bubbles blowing out of it, those are particles. Not always, but oftentimes they're not going to be mesh, but particles. Most fire you see is particles. Not always. As you can see, this is mesh, but sometimes you'll have a fire that's going to be a particle. Whenever you run the water in your sink or on your shower, you take a shower, and let's say you have a blackness shower. When you run the water, you turn the faucet on, it's going to be running water that is water particles, okay? And so what you're going to want to do, unless you're really wanting to see those, I usually turn it all the way down to 0. You can have it a little bit higher if you want, so that you're able to see some. When it's on 0, you're not going to be able to see any particles. So that's important to note. If you want to see your bubbles and your fire and your water and smoke, steam and things like that, you're going to want to have it at least turned up to about 512, I would say. But honestly, I keep it on 0 because it's not affecting my game to not see those particles, so I don't care too much. I keep it on 0. So that is step 8, and now that we're done with step 8, let's go ahead and move on to step 9. So for step 9, this is something that I understand only works in Firestorm. There's other ways to kind of get around it in Black Dragon, maybe in Second Life, but I only know it to work in Firestorm, and that is to go on friends only. So if you're watching a YouTuber, a Second Life YouTuber, and they're shopping at an event or they're on a community sim, they'll say they're in friends only. And what that is you're going to go ahead and go back to your navigation bar at the top. You're going to select worlds, and it's going to be all the way at the bottom, show friends only. And I don't have any people on the sim right now because this is my personal sim and nobody was really allowed on it. But let's say I was at Cake Day or I was at Equal10 and I was shopping, you're going to want to go ahead and turn friends only on, because what that does is it just disables all the other avatars, all the other people. You're not going to be able to see them unless they're on your friends list. And I feel like this makes things a lot smoother because your computer is not fighting to process all these other avatars and their scripts, and if they're in motion dancing, that's just a lot of work to be done on your computer. So I always like to turn on show friends only if I need to make my computer run faster and I'm on a community sim or a sim with lots of avatars. So that's what we do, and that is step 9. Let's go ahead and move on to step 10. So for step 10, we're going to be back into our Second Life Firestorm viewer, and we're just going to go ahead and go back to our avatar, and we're going to want to go down to preferences. Go ahead and click that, and we're going to be clearing our cache. So on the Second Life wiki, fan page for Second Life, it says that this method only worked until 2009, but all my friends that I know tell me to do this whenever my computer's acting up, and I have noticed significant difference on lag whenever I do this. I do it periodically. I'd say probably once every 2 months, I'd say. And what you do is you just go down to where it says network files, networks and files in the middle. You're going to click over to where it says connection. You're going to click over to directories. And you have two options here. You have clear inventory cache, and you have clear cache, just the regular cache. Now, I don't exactly know what the main difference is between the two. I know for the inventory, it's specifically cleaning when you have your avatar. When you have your inventory, it's cleaning this all out. So it's not really cleaning anything out. It's not going to delete any files, but what it's going to do is essentially when you load up your Firestorm and you log in, it takes less time to log in because it has all the files cached, all your textures, everything. It's already on your computer stored somewhere where it's like, okay, let's say this little okay, it just moved away from me. Never mind. Let's say this little ornament, this little pink ornament, and the texture, the shine, everything is saved to my computer somewhere so that it's already there when I log in. So essentially what happens when you clear your cache is all those files are going to be gone, and it's going to take long for the first time that you log back into Second Life after clearing your cache. It's going to take a little bit longer because it's going to have to render everything in for the first time. It's not going to remember all the different textures, but after that, essentially your computer should be acting a lot faster. Your frame should go up, everything like that. It shouldn't be as many crashing or lagging or freezing or fuzzy textures or anything like that, hopefully. And another pro tip is for the inventory cache. So you can use this for multiple different reasons. Sometimes I have like 60,000 elements in my inventory. Sometimes I'll log into Second Life and it'll be a glitch where it's only showing I have 20,000 elements and they're missing. If that ever happens, you're going to want to go back here to the network and files, and you're going to want to clear your inventory cache, and that's going to reset everything. When you log in, everything will be there all over again. You can do it from being logged into Second Life, but I've heard the recommendation to be logged out and just be on the little home page where you log in, where you have your little username and password. You're going to want to stay on that page, and you're just going to want to go to the preferences in the left hand corner, and you're going to go navigate, and you're going to want to navigate back to this network and files, and you're going to click inventory cache. Or I don't think it has the inventory cache option on the load-in screen because you're not logged into a person, but you will have the cache and you can clear the cache that way. So that is what we do for step 10, and without further ado, we're going to be moving on to the last step. So the last step, step 11, is not necessarily anything you need to fix with your computer or with your Firestorm, but just a general code that I like to live by, that I've been basically following for a long time in my Second Life experience, and that is to just live in a skybox. I know that, it's a lot more fun to live in like a community sim where there's other people and there's other avatars that you can mix and mingle with and role play, especially when you like to role play. But for me personally, I like to live and stay in a skybox, and then when I feel like I want to roleplay, I'll just go ahead and visit those sims. But if you're someone that's a homebody and you stay on your own sim, on your own land a lot of the time, I recommend staying on your own land in a skybox. This can be from rented land. You don't have to have your own sim by any means. I lived on a small parcel from Latin Estates that I rented out for a very long time, over a year, and I lived about 2,000 meters in the sky. And when I tell you my frames used to be on 100, that was on my desktop. Right now I'm on my laptop. It doesn't go as it doesn't have as high frame rates as my desktop, but literally I could go to any community sim and my frame rates would be down to like 10 frame rates per set. It'd be down to like 10 FPS, even down to as low as like 2 FPS. But whenever I'd go back to my skybox, I'd notice it jump all the way up to like 100 FPS, and it would stay there. I know it can be tempting to live on a I know it can be tempting to live on a community sim with a bunch of different avatars and roleplay, and I understand fully how that is very desirable, but at the end of the day, if your computer is slow and you need to make sure you're not lagging as much, then I would definitely recommend moving into a skybox, because that'll save you a lot of processing. It doesn't have to process all the other avatars because they're not in the sky with you. Oftentimes it won't need to process all the other objects and landscaping that's on the land. It'll just process everything that is up in your skybox, and I recommend going at least 2,000 feet in the sky, or at least 2,000 meters in the sky. Up to 3,000 is like the sweet spot that I found when wanting to get rid of some of the lag. So yeah, I'm not saying don't live in a community sim. You can even have a little community. You can even still rent out a community space, a community house, a community sim. If you really want to stay at a community sim, you can have your house at a community sim and then have a private skybox somewhere else as well. I really recommend it, especially if you're a YouTuber, you do videos and in your house. I recommend doing it in a skybox. So those are my tips and tricks on how to make Second Life less laggy and make it run faster on your computer. So if you liked my tips and they helped you out, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to see more videos like this. It helps me out a lot. Make sure to join my Discord, my community Discord. A lot of my tips and tricks that I have for Second Life and other games will be shared to that Discord server as well. The Pixel Friends group chat. So make sure to join that on Discord as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you. And I will see you next time. Bye, Pixel Friends.